As I began my journey to Thailand, I was very excited to be immersed in a new culture that I anticipated to be very different from my own. I have always been intrigued by the monks, foods, and landscapes that are so characteristic of Thailand, and I was thrilled to finally be exposed to these images firsthand. As a sociology student, I am always drawn towards investigating how people interact with each other and with the societal structures around them. So, what better course than global change, community, and families to foster this curiosity? During our first few days in Thailand, we were able to visit Wat Son Dok, a temple in Chiang Mai. I was amazed by the sheer size of the temple and was also impressed by the intricate detail of its decoration. I have always been intrigued by the Buddhist religion, or as I learned during our chat with Fra Keke, the Buddhist philosophy. As a Christian, my religious beliefs and Christian community are very important aspects of my life. I was very interested in learning about Buddhist beliefs and also in observing the community that they have within their temples and all throughout Thailand. I watched the young monks playing a frisbee game near their school and heard from Fra KK about the amount of time the monks spend together while remaining separated from their desires and the rest of society. I was also able to gather a sense of the community that the monks engage in during their stays at the temple. I was able to see how the community engaged with the larger Thai community throughout their interactions with civilians. The Thai people offer alms to the monks in exchange for spiritual blessings. This relationship shows how valued the monks are as a part of the larger Thai community, and also how two communities can work together while also being a part of one another. I got my first taste of an educational community during our visit to the Chiang Dao School. We interacted with high school students and were able to observe their interactions with each other as well. I was encouraged to see that the students got along well despite coming from very different tribal backgrounds. The teachers at the school also became a very integrated part of the community, with one that we talked to informing us that he had taught there for 17 years. I developed a strong sense of appreciation for the educational community the school provided these children after hearing more about the reasons that they had ended up attending. These children were at risk of being trafficked, had dealt with trauma in their youth, and often had no chance of a quality education in their home villages. When I talked with a few young girls, they told me that they were thankful for the other students at the school and that they felt like they had a family within their dorm and school environment. I noticed the same sense of community was fostered at the Sunflower House, a home for girls run by the Development and Education Program for Daughters in Communities. PMI taught us about the many disadvantages the girls faced and how the program was helping them to become educated, empowered women. I was touched by many of the stories the girls shared during the Lit Club activities that we engaged in with them. I learned about many separations or deaths of their parents, loss of siblings, or the hardship they had endured during their removal from their homes. I noticed that the girls seemed to have deep friendships with each other and that they were also incredibly close to the adult volunteers that lived with them. I think the community provided at the Sunflower House is a great example of the power of having a support system available. These girls who came from such dark backgrounds are now learning skills that could transfer to steady incomes, are being formally educated, and are learning how to interact and engage with others in ways that form healthy relationships. I was challenged by the openness of the girls at the Sunflower House. I am typically a reserved private person, but I learned so much from these girls about the strength they have found in being vulnerable. I was also reminded of just how fortunate I am to have the educational opportunities I do, and I was challenged to be more appreciative and dedicated to my schoolwork as I take time to remember how much some students must go through in order to have similar opportunities. There is a great sense of community found in different cultural villages throughout Thailand. We visited several Hmong villages throughout our trip, but I think one of my favorites was located outside of Chiang Kong. During the windy drive overlooking the rice paddies and other agricultural landscapes, I was reminded of the isolation of my own hometown. It made me question how the village was able to maintain itself without the conveniences of technology and easy transportation that we enjoy in the U.S. During our visit, I became very aware of the cooperation that the village members have, and I was also impressed by the way they have preserved their culture. A few young girls took us on a tour of the village, and we were able to see the only daycare in the community where all of the children gathered to sing, dance, and learn before attending school. It showed me just how connected each of the families are. We also visited the chief's house and were able to drop in for a chicken fight. As we joined the men of the village, cheering and observing their birds, I noticed how no one was alarmed by our presence and realized that they must be used to visitors dropping by unannounced, another symbol of a strong sense of community. My favorite part of our day in the village was when we attended a ceremony that was being performed to heal a sick baby. We were able to tie strings around his wrist and bless him, and also to watch the blessing and sacrificing of a pig. I was surprised by the way the entire community welcomed us into their homes and the way that they so willingly shared their rituals with us, a group of complete strangers. It made me realize that my community back home, a small, loving farming village, should strive to be more welcoming to outsiders as well. While we always manage to take care of our own, we are often apprehensive towards newcomers, especially those that are different than the average resident. During my 3 weeks in Thailand, I also experienced a sense of community with the other participants on the trip. I was very thankful for the openness and willingness to share that each of the members of our group had. I was fortunate enough to begin the trip with one of my best friends and to end the trip with a larger group of friends whom I shared many laughs and ice cream treats with. This trip to Thailand exposed me to an entirely new understanding of what it means to live in a community, to share experiences, to look out for one another, to be welcoming. As I have readjusted to the fast paced life in the US, I have been intentional about engaging in the community around me and focusing on the overall sense of well being rather than on my own desires.